What's up, fellow Starseeds? Savita, the Starseed here, and today I wanted to do a video on what Starseeds are. And I know a lot of people are feeling a bit lost lately and disappointed with the world.
There's probably a reason why.
If you're watching this video, then it is destined for your eyes and your consciousness to digest.
So let's hop right into it.
To keep it super short, Starseeds are alien souls.
Now you're gonna be like, Savita, WTH, WTF, HHHH, that sounds crazy. Or WTF, that's wild.
But hear me out for a second, please. I have been in school for engineering and I've learned that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is transformed. I mean, that is a law that technically everybody should have learned when they're in elementary school.
Right?
Haven't y'all noticed that ever since COVID-19 happened, there's been a shift in energy from masculine to more feminine? I don't mean the earth is wearing a bow tie, but I mean energetically. Before, we were in a time period of hatred and war and dividing, but now we're shifting over to a more acceptable place for everybody, regardless of race, ethnicity, and sexual background. Regardless of all of that, we're pushing more for harmony and love and a lot of other things. A more feminine, nurturing kind of energy. Yeah, there's still war out there. A lot of people now are starting to be like, okay, maybe we don't need that. Maybe we should use our words and not weapons for a energy, you know what I mean? Before I go ahead and give you details on what a starseed is, I wanted to read a disclosure that I typed up for myself to save my culo from people on the internet and YouTube. If you don't mind to kindly sit through, it's actually kind of interesting when you think about it, and it further proves my point on this whole starseed thing and how nothing is completely impossible. What I am going to talk about stems from my own research, knowledge, intuition, experiences over the past few years, or probably since my childhood. I am not trying to change other people's perspectives. I'm not trying to start a cult. I'm not trying to tell folks that their current beliefs are any less than mine. It is simply a very interesting topic to think about, especially after all I've experienced throughout my life during my college years in mechanical engineering. I'm not saying that this is my religion. I'm not saying I believe in the entire existence of starseeds 100%. However, I do believe in it more than I disbelieve it, simply for the fact that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is always transformed or changed from one form to another. Something comes to light is because something's got to give. Something blossoms, something dies. Always. When you're in engineering, you learn that everything is in equilibrium. When you learn thermodynamics, statics, dynamics, you always set everything to be equal to each other because you never lose or gain energy. You might through a process, but the overall from start to finish is going to be the same. Always. Remember, in this world that we live in, just because we cannot explain the paranormal with our 3D meat sack bodies and our 5 senses of sight, touch, smell, taste, and hearing, does not mean that there is not a hidden reason going on in a different dimension right now as we speak. Try to have an open mind, pretty please, and realize that just because we live in this 3D perception does not mean that there are no other dimensions or other explanations going on outside of those 5 senses. I say that twice. However, while I will concretely inform you that regardless of our modern labels between religion, gender, sexual orientation, race or ethnicity, and political party, regardless of all of those labels that divide us, we are not alone in this universe. We are not alone in this infinite vast of nebulas. We all bleed the same, and we all have what we call a higher power. Me personally, I call it the Force. Star Wars and Harry Potter are more practical than you think. People didn't believe in astronomy, geometry, math, physics, calculus, but then came the Sumerians and the Greeks from 4100 to 700 BC. People didn't believe that the earth was round. They thought it was flat. But then came Pythagoras in 500 BC. People didn't believe in metaphysical groups such as witches and Wiccans. Then came the witch trials in 1692 because people were afraid to admit that there's things that they cannot control. People didn't believe in electricity. Then came Michael Faraday, Alexander Lodygon, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison in the 1800s. People didn't believe we could fly or travel around the world in X amount of hours. But then came the Wright brothers in 1903. People didn't believe in going to space, but then came Sputnik during the Cold War in 1957. People didn't believe in reusable launch vehicles or reusable rockets, whatever you would like to call it, but then came Elon Musk in 2013. People didn't believe in UFOs or starseeds or other beings outside of this planet, but then came us, those that are awakening this, those that are pushing this and saying, hey, we are not alone here, but the government's not going to admit what they're seeing because they're freaking selfish and chicken. The point is, science fiction is a fantasy until it becomes scientific facts. Not all people will believe in starseeds, especially at first, but that just goes to show that nothing is impossible. It's just a matter of time until proven to be true for those that refuse to think outside of those five senses. Some quotes. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed, changed from one form to another. Albert Einstein. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibrations. Nikola Tesla. To know each other, we must reach beyond the sphere of our five sense perceptions and go to the stars. Nikola Tesla. Thank you for sitting through that disclosure. Hopefully it helps furthermore back up my standpoint on this. So let's go ahead and dive into what starseeds are and signs if you are indeed a starseed. You probably are since you clicked on this video. So again, to reiterate what I said before, starseeds are alien souls. In my opinion, and from the things that I've been seeing and researching, I don't think that when we die, we die. I think that when our physical bodies die, it's just our souls saying of, hey, I'm ready for my next physical form. Our souls are recycled, always. We practically reincarnate on this earth over and over and over. Now, whether we go from human to human or human to dog or human to dog to bird back to human, that part nobody knows yet. But I strongly feel that death isn't death. We just go back to where our soul came from originally, and we're either sent back down here or we ascend next to the next dimension. Starseeds are advanced alien souls, advanced spiritual beings from other planets or realms or constellations from thousands to millions of years. They incarnated on Earth in these 3D meat sacks to inspire and heal fellow human beings who are not starseeds, who have just been on Earth and only on Earth, and you can usually tell who has and hasn't, and to participate in the planet's evolution from the third to fourth dimension, ascension. Physical descendants of alien souls from other worlds who traveled to Earth to be the planet's light workers. Light workers are people that pretty much push happiness, energy, love, and vibrations, so there's no more hatred and other negative things in this world. They're just trying to shed some positivity, and they're super empathetic. Multi-dimensional beings, and aliens so to say, that decided to reincarnate into human form during this age of Aquarius, which was 1447 to 3597. We are in 2021. And again, the age of Aquarius starts at 1447. The witch trials were in 1692. To transition the world into higher vibrational states of being to help awaken the world and experience the human condition and have different origins across the galaxy as different species. When first on Earth, they go through a phase of amnesia. They forget their origins, who they truly are, why they're here, so they can experience the human condition in its full glory. They are in a hibernation mode, which is kind of like a self-defense mechanism, until they are ready to truly awaken their starseed side, or true starseed awakening. Not everybody is a starseed, but not all starseeds are one type. Because our souls have been recycled so many times, there's a chance that if you're like, oh, I'm Pleiadian, that you're also part Sirian or Lyran. It just depends on what you feel. Your intuition is the strongest thing. It's a magnet. It's like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Your soul was initially reincarnated from outside this atmosphere. I've always been interested in the stars. I've always believed that there's more to this world than paying taxes and bills and dying, working 9 to 5s every freaking day, wasting your life. That's not why we are here, people. So that's what a starseed is. Let's go into signs of being a starseed. Signs of being a starseed. The biggest one to me is your love and gratitude and appreciation for what goes on outside of this atmosphere. You love the stars, you love constellations, you love nebulas, and I'm talking about when you were younger. I don't mean just now. I mean just ever since you were a kid, you've loved the unknown, you loved the paranormal, things that couldn't be explained. You loved science or math, not saying that you're a nerd and you bust out calculations, but wondering how plants grow and how plants are actually just as alive as us. Just because they don't have eyes and they can't talk verbally doesn't mean that they're not alive. But there's that, and you have frustration towards the traditional norms that go on in society. Social media in general is a huge numbers game. It's practically gone into a big DICK pull-out game kind of thing. I don't really care about the numbers. I'm just trying to make a difference, and I'm trying to just push messages for people that want to hear it and that need help seeking. You're very empathetic, like you tend to give love and appreciation towards inanimate objects. Like if I drop this water bottle on the floor, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I saw a mom saying goodbye to her kid at the airport coming back from my spiritual journey. He was a rainbow kid, I could tell. But I started crying for no freaking reason. I was just listening to music, watching them, reading my book, and I just busted out crying. And I look over and she's in tears. And I'm like, oh, okay. You can tell when someone's mad or happy or in love. Like, you can just read their energy. You can read their behaviors. Animals and babies are drawn to you, whether you like it or not. I'm more of an animal rather than baby kind of person, but that happens to me to where both of them just gravitate towards me. Some people be like, oh, this bird hates me, but I can easily, hey, come here. You are intuitive and psychic, and you can sense things immediately and get tagged as a know-it-all, but it's because you are. You just have that intuition. You are a wisdom seeker. You always ask why and how to everything around you. You love to understand how the universe works. You feel like you don't belong here. That's a big one to me. No matter what, you've just never fit in with the rest of society, their traditional norms. Everybody was wearing Aeropostale shirts that cost $50 to say Aeropostale, but you go ahead and bust out a band t-shirt. Like, you just do different things rather than everybody else. Some might be doing, oh, the cinnamon challenge or the Kylie Jenner challenge. You don't do that because you think it's stupid or just waste your time or just weird or just awkward. But hidden knowledge and gems are your favorites. From wondering how the pyramids were constructed, to the behavior of the Bermuda Triangle, the existence of aliens and ghosts and spirits, Atlantis and Lemuria, energy, portals between galaxies, which is real. We actually do have a Stargate, people. Quantum physics, psychic abilities, astrology, numerology, tarot, etc. All of that stuff interests you since you were younger. If metaphysics was the topic in school, you would practically have an A in the class. You'd probably be number one in the class. And you feel the paranormal is normal. Feel that that's part of life, which I do. Being out in crowds can be too much for you energy-wise, as well as feeling negative and disappointed with everyone and everything around you as they are now. People that literally just waste their lives away, but instead of beating themselves down, they don't give themselves the opportunity and drive to make things better. Or you see people just going downhill and getting lost because they're making irresponsible and poor choices, and you emphasize towards that so much that you can't help but let it bother you. It's not that like you're jealous or that you judge them out of hate, and they don't understand this because they think you're being mad at them or pissy or envious, but that's not the case. You just have such a deep love for people, whether you like it or not. What they do bothers you because you know that they can do better, but they choose not to. That's a big one. You are called an old soul often, whether it's between family or friends. Just petty stuff really bothers you. It's annoying, especially when you wonder forever why they don't seek any more profound meaning for their lives, that instead they have to bring you down for it and invest time in self-improvement aside from traditional norms. Instead, they tear you down. You live beyond this muggle world and have an aversion to being concerned with the materialistic part that brainwashes everybody else. There's more to this world than cell phones and freaking numbers game and the top TikTok trend. There is way more to this world than that, but people aren't gonna get that. You know you have a big purpose, but struggle to identify it. You need to lose your ego and tune into the force. You hate authority as you value freedom. You don't agree with the way the workforce is. Value freedom so much because being enslaved goes against what you believe in. Natural remedies are better than the rest. Especially if you feel that prescribed pills, whether it's for depression, anxiety, etc., pills that you have to get from a doctor, are terrible for humanity, as you never know what you're really putting into your body. The COVID-19 vaccine, I don't trust that 1000%. I am never gonna take it. I can't stop those that I love around me from taking it, but just something in my gut tells me that that's not good. And you don't know what's in that. You're not in the lab, you're not a microbiologist, you're not the one that's a chemical engineer making this thing. You don't know what you're putting in your body. Just because the government says so doesn't always mean that's the safest way to go. You have more acquaintances than friends. Very few genuinely get you. They call you weird. That happened to me, but that's because people didn't get it. And you have a deep bond with very few, especially if you disagree with a lot of mainstream choices. Between typical social media, those are so negative and so toxic subconsciously, but you like helping others even if it hurts you. Because they didn't listen to you, because you had a gut feeling, because you're trying to love and protect them from their poor decisions, but they don't get it. You care for people so much that it hurts you. You see too many repeating numbers or angel numbers. Those are technically one of the first signs of a starseed awakening, is number synchronicity. You see the numbers as affirmations or new clues to pay attention to as you're starting your spiritual awakening. But most importantly, you don't jump on the bandwagon. Don't dive into things just because you want that validation from other people. Now that you know what the signs of being a starseed are and what starseeds are, I'll go ahead and list the 6 most common types. There's other ones, but these are the most popular 6. There's Lyran, Sirian, Pleiadian, Arcturian, Orion, and Andromedan. There's other types such as Venusian, the Draconian, and Reptilian, but I don't know if I believe in reptilians 100% at the moment. I've heard about that since I was a kid, but metaphorically, I can see how reptilians affect people, but that's gonna go into the galactic history in another video. My signs for when I was awakening practically hit all of those points. People called me weird because they didn't understand how I thought. They didn't understand the way I was operating up here. But no matter what you do, you just can't help but feel bad for these people that continuously F up. Not going with traditional norms, that's me. I was the typical goth kid with bangs. Shout out to anybody who had bangs and blasted screamo music. I loved messing with spirit boards. I used to like gardening, but after a while I just got so moody and rebellious from my freaking goth phase that I could have gave a rat's booty about anything. I've always loved the stars and the cosmos. Just absolutely loved it. Anytime I would go camping, I would absolutely love to stargaze. Anytime I travel somewhere, that's the one thing I do, is to stargaze. Love aliens, UFOs, ghosts, and all that stuff. You kind of get it. It's all this stuff that doesn't co-align with this 3D meat flesh that we're so tied to. And sorry if I'm being mean, but I like to not sugarcoat things and be blunt, because this world needs help and we have to awaken each other. Seriously. Thank you for sitting here and watching and listening along as I give you these details, and hopefully this helped on you finding out who you are. Or if you are a starseed, I'm going to do another video on your awakening process and your signs and how to work with that power. And then I'll do one on history, and there's gonna be a video for each type of crystals and numerology that reside the best with you, the dimensions. Like, I'm gonna have a lot more information that I've seen, because I had to dive on DuckDuckGo, because every time you Google search, you get results intentionally, not because you're just typing it, but you get specific results based on your algorithm, so you're not able to see everything you want to see. That's technology. We're super controlled, and it is disgusting. If you liked this and you want to see upcoming videos, please hit subscribe or the notification button. Thank you, and hopefully this helped. I'll see y'all later. Bye.